One. Hello, hello, TikTok community. Welcome, welcome. Come on in, gather, gather. We're just looking to go live also on YouTube. So look for us on YouTube under Alkala Yogi. Look also for us on the IG, also under Alkala Yogi. You'll find Brother Long and I live. We're going to give you all a minute in order to come into the space. Okay, it looks like we're live also on IG. Again, we're going to take just a moment or two here. We have another great conversation for you. And incidentally, before we went live, Brother Long and I were discussing, some of the findings that we've been coming across as we continue this really fascinating deep dive into nutrition. Good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Moringa Mama. Good, good. Nice to see you, Dion Taylor, Torah Customer Leather. Welcome, welcome. Lovely to see you all. We're going to be sharing some great self-healing secrets. What better time than to learn how to self-heal than now? Yesterday would have been a better time, but today's the next best time to get started. We'll give you guys another few minutes to come into the space. Come on, come on. We were just chatting about how we want to sort of do these conversations and what we want to focus on. And again, we're just reminded as we continue to do research and have these conversations that really we could be doing this for a very long time, literally weeks and weeks. Because again, as I've mentioned before, if you've not been to the first two conversations that Brother Long and I have held over nutrition, then you're not familiar with the fact that, or perhaps you're not familiar with the fact that food is very much one of the tools that has been utilized and weaponized against us. Hence, all the genetically modified foods, the sprayed foods, that's essentially making us sick. And I think it doesn't take a scientist or a clinical trial, or even a doctor really, to see that what we're doing is not working. We are sicker than we've ever been. More people than ever are on pharmaceuticals and are meant to be on these pharmaceuticals for the rest of their lives. But people are not getting healthy. They're not being healed. Few people are. Those people that are choosing alternative methods for self-healing, that are looking into alternative medicine, maybe ancient medicine like Ayurvedic medicine, or an otherwise Eastern form of medicine would be Chinese medicine. These people still are continuing to get healthy and actually reversing disease in real time. But for the mass population as a whole, especially in the West, and I'm speaking specifically, by the way, when I say in the West, the United Kingdom, New Zealand and Australia, Canada and the United States. So continental Europe certainly does is experiencing an increase in lifestyle diseases or diseases of civilization, which you can opt in or out of, as Brother Long will speak to you about. Those are on the rise in continental Europe, but not to the same degree as in those English-speaking countries that I just referred to, right? So what we're doing, again, is not working for us, because if you believe in Hippocrates, who has been made out to be the father of Western medicine, then perhaps you also believe in what his fundamental principle was, which is food is thy medicine. And if you don't treat food as your medicine, then medicine will become your food. And that's very much what we're seeing in the West. So ways to counteract that would obviously be to simplify your lifestyle. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. It's not something that requires, ingenuity, so to speak. It really just means sort of more natural way of living. But the time that we're in currently, they have told us that for the sake of feeding more people, that they must spray our foods, for the sake of creating foods that are less susceptible to pests and insects, that they must be, again, heavily sprayed in chemicals. That I think that's debatable, especially when people are getting sick at the rate that they're getting sick, and people's quality of life has severely been impacted, again, primarily in the West. So I guess what I will say is the reality here is not the reality globally. And that's an important thing to remember. What's been normalized here is not normal elsewhere. And so we shouldn't normalize it here either. We shouldn't normalize being on 3 to 4 medications, potentially for the rest of your life, on things that will never cure you, but just mitigate your symptoms. Before we get into the actual conversation itself, because I'm just allowing people to come in to the room still, I just want to remind you of a time, those of us that remember, when our doctors used to actually ask us about our diet. I would pose this question to you lot on the IG, on the YouTube, and on TikTok. When was the last time you went to a general practitioner, a family physician, with a problem, with a disease, and you were asked, well, what's your diet been like? Are you eating too many processed meats? Is there too much sugar in your diet? Too much dairy? I remember a time when those questions were asked. Have you recently had a breakup? Are you displeased and unsatisfied with your work? Because all of these things matter. We are more than just the physical body. Obviously, the physical body being very important here because that's what the nutrition is feeding. But other factors also have a great impact on our overall health. Are you sleeping? Are you going to bed on time? Right. So the fact that these questions are no longer being asked is indicative of a time when our doctors, unfortunately, are not really seeking to get it to the root cause of what our sickness is. Now, there are doctors that do, internal medicine doctors, functional doctors, naturopathic doctors, right? But generally speaking, I would say that the medical industrial complex is less about finding out what it is that's happened in your life and how you have contributed to deterioration and degeneration in the body, and what you can, and how by mitigating those behaviors, you can actually improve your overall health. Those of you that are not here live but are going to be watching this on the replay, please know that we have not forgotten you. We are always happy to answer questions for those of you that are currently live with us now. But we're also equally happy to answer questions that might come in at a later time when you've seen this video. So please always use the chat box, the comment boxes below on all platforms. And I will go ahead when Brother Long begins his portion of the conversation, add his information to all of the platforms so that you're able to reach out if you're in search of a Taoist healer, which I think all of us should be. And alternatively, if you're needing a health coach, I'll also include my information. So on that note, I will go ahead and give you a little intro on me before I offer the floor up to Brother Long. My name is Lisa. Online, I'm known as the Alkali Yogi, and I am a holistic practitioner licensed with the CHEK Institute. I'm very passionate about health and specifically natural healing, which is why I have embarked on this journey, on this career path at this stage in my life. I've seen too many people around me fall ill far too young, especially in my parents' age group. And them being sick, not only too young, but their lifespans being shortened considerably. My maternal grandparents both lived to be nearly 100 years old and died of natural causes in Eritrea, which is a very small country in the Horn of Africa. And because it's a small country, developing country, they don't have access to chemicals and pesticides. So my grandparents were drug-free, and then it was just their time to leave. May they rest in peace. So what I'm trying to highlight here is that you can, in fact, live a long, healthy life by eating natural organic food, which is what everyone is, quote unquote, forced to do in Eritrea because it is a developing country. And without the necessity of being on thyroid medication for the rest of your life, blood pressure medication for the rest of your life, without the worry of lymphedema, et cetera, diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia. These, again, are lifestyle diseases, diseases of civilization, as Brother Long calls them. And they are, in fact, a choice. You can opt in or out. So the choice is up to you. Again, I will add our information so you can reach out to the both of us. And again, we thank you for tuning in, whether you're live or whether you're watching the replay. On that note, I'm going to hand it over to you, Brother Long.
I need you to share the presentation. Thank you. And so, my name is Brother Long, and today I'm going to speak on the information from my research, but also as a Taoist. And we haven't talked, I don't know if I've talked much about Taoism at all, but Taoism is ancient Chinese stuff. And if you know that China is thousands and thousands of years old. It's not like America that's a couple hundred years old. China has been there by those same people for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And in that ancient system, there have been people passing down um, secret healing knowledge um, since 3000 BC. Okay. So at this point, the tradition is over 5,000 years old. And in that tradition, they're able to perform healing miracles. There was the medicineless hospitals of China. They didn't use any medicine. All they used was some Taoist practice. And they had 95% cure rate for cancer and all type of other uncurable diseases. They got a medical journal about it, and they got some other information about these medicineless hospitals. So what the Taoists did is we take the things that create 95% cure rate for cancer from the old world, but then we take the Western science and the Western scientific instruments and models, and we use the Western technology to understand the ancient practices. And so when a person has a problem and then they get a miraculous healing, there's something called the placebo effect. And what a placebo effect is, if they give you something to tell you it's going to help you and it's nothing, but because you think it's going to help you, it does. So that's called a placebo effect. The more you can understand about how the body can heal itself, the more you can believe your body can heal itself, especially when you understand how it works. And when you believe, you can activate the placebo effect when you truly believe. Now, there's some things you can do that are going to make a difference, whether you believe them or whether you don't believe them. So if you can find something that will make a difference, whether you believe it or not, and then you add the power of belief to it, you can activate the placebo effect to help you heal your body. Okay. And it's very important for us because in the Western system, Western science and Western medicine, and all your knowledge that you get in from Western doctors and Western healing is a part of Western science. Medicine is a scientific discipline of Western science and Western medicine. But the thing is, Western science doesn't acknowledge anything spiritual. Western science doesn't acknowledge God, the presence of God, the presence of spirit, the presence of anything in the understanding of what's unfolding. But Eastern science incorporates spirit into it. Eastern science has an understanding of God into it. And so when you have a godless system, that's where they can have everything has no cure. There's no cure because there's no God. So since there's no God, there's no cure. So let us manage this for the rest of your life and make money. But in the East, there is a God, there's a creative principle. You can tap into it and it can heal you. That's a tremendous difference. Now, Lisa said something earlier of the economic models of medicine, where in the West, the doctors will not get paid unless you are sick. You stay home while you're healthy, and when you get sick, you go to the doctor, and then that's how the doctor gets paid. So the only way the doctors in the medical system can make money is if you stay sick. So the medical system is literally designed to drive the economic healers and the powers that be to make sure you stay sick enough for them to make money off of it. But in the Eastern system, you went to go visit the doctor regularly and the doctor got paid for them keeping your family in your house healthy. Everybody in your house is healthy. And so that's why you pay the healer and the teacher to come and guide your family. If somebody in your family gets sick, then the healer stops getting paid, because they're not going to pay you if they're sick, because your job is to keep them healed. So the healers in the Eastern system, the incentive was to make sure everyone in the house stayed healthy so that the family would pay the monthly fee. Because if anyone in the house got sick, then we wouldn't get the money. And so the spirit in Eastern medicine and Eastern healing, the spirit is literally different, because the spirit is literally there. So with that type of Eastern Taoist spirit God-based understanding, this ancient Chinese secret Taoist wisdom, that's how we really get to the healing of this. And so we're going to take a look at some of this modern science, and then we're going to use it to comprehend the ancient wisdom. Okay. So in terms of your body, you have to look at everything in terms of cells, okay? Because your body is made up of cells. You literally started as one fertilized cell in your mother's womb. And all that cell did was double and double and double and double. And the cell just started to double. And when so many cells was doubled, it wound up creating some tissue. Now, it's only one cell, okay? It's only one cell. But as that one cell doubles on itself and starts creating tissue, eventually it's going to turn this part into a stomach. It's going to turn these cells into a liver. It's going to turn these cells into your small intestine. It's going to turn all these things into these total different organs operating as it just doubles and doubles and doubles, but it's only one cell. Okay. So what the question becomes, how does the cell know to become an organ? How does a cell know to become a heart? And this is where we recognize that there's some type of intelligence within the cell. Okay, the cell has some type of intelligence that tells itself what to do and what to become. So now, every cell have a cell life. So no matter what the problem is in your body, you have to learn about it at the cellular level. Because whatever organ or gland you having a problem with, they'll tell you there's no cure. Let's cut or drug. Cut it out or drug you up and drug it up to treat it. Okay. But what you have to understand is whatever organ or gland you having your problem with, that gland is made up of tissues, and those tissues are made up of cells. And while they might tell you there's no cure for the organ, there's no cure for the gland, what you have to understand is that whatever problem is with that organ and with that gland is something to do with the cells. And then as you research those cells, you discover there's a way to stop the cells from becoming problematic. And when the cells stop being problematic, as the current cells that make up the problematic tissue, as they die and disappear, the new cells that grow will be fixed instead of problematic. And as the cells, the bad cells die, and the new cells grow that are correct, well, those cells in that tissue that's growing is going to wind up creating an organ healing back to the way it was before those tissues started messing up. See? Now the body is losing millions of cells and creating millions of cells every second. When your body is working the right way, all of the cells that make up the tissues, that make up your organs, those cells are getting what they need and doing what they need to do. And as long as your cells get what they need, do what they need to do, you are going to be able to stay healthy. So, to get your cells healthy, cells are made up of molecules. Molecules are made up of atoms. So, atoms are talking about the energy because energy turns into matter. So, you have an energetic side to each one of your cells. Your cells have an electricity. Okay. And so you can learn how to influence the energetic side of your cells. Okay. And so we look at the energy in your body as the energy that's flowing through your nervous system. Because the energy that's flowing through your nervous system, it's sending a force through your body. And that force is touching every cell in your body, spreading out to it, through it. So you can influence the nerve force in your body. You can change the quality and the quantity of your nerve force energy. You can increase the amount of energy in your nervous system. And you can increase the quality of that energy. Okay. And so that's what we want to focus on in the Taoist practices. Now, the molecules are the material side of things because your cells are made up out of physical stuff. Okay. There's physical stuff, there's molecules that need to be gathered together so that your cells can do what they need to do. And so the molecules of the cell is dealing with the materials your cell have access to. And the materials your cells have access to is dependent on the food that you've eaten and that your body has absorbed. Okay. So before we talked about the importance of proper digestion, mastication. So now that you've properly digested and you've been eating fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds and seaweed, all of the colors of the rainbows, very lightly steamed or raw. And by very lightly steamed, it means steamed for 3 minutes or raw. And by eating these things, you will have all the molecules that your body needs in order to create the cells you need to create to fix the tissues that's causing you the problems. Okay? And so now, understanding that they tell you you have a new body every 7 years because it takes 7 years for the longest living cells that's how long they live before they die. That's what science used to believe. That was the old science, that your bones take the longest lifespan and your bones last for 7 years. So every 7 years, by the time all your bone cells have turned over, you're a new person. physically, the cells that make you up. But your organs, almost all of your organs, the cells only live for 3 months. Okay. So most of the organs in your body are not older than 3 to 4 months, no matter how old you are. But the thing is, okay, when you were young, you had a lot of energy that was in your body. Okay. And with so much energy, the molecules wasn't that important, but you still had to eat enough to grow. But lifespan wasn't very long until very recently. Western people only used to live 35, 40 years. Being able to live past 35 or 40 is new in the history of Western civilization, only since probably less than 100 years, since they discovered penicillin or whatever. But the thing you have to understand is that you're going to have, as long as your organs stay working, you'll stay alive. Okay. As long as your organs stay working, you'll stay alive. And so whatever organ you got a problem with, you're going to have a brand new version of that organ in 3 to 4 months. The problem is the cells that's going to grow in 1, 2, 3 months to rebuild your organ, when they grow and multiply, they're going to be weak and growing the wrong way. And as your cells get weak, the energetic level get low, the molecules ain't right. It creates what's called aging. And your body starts to get old, and then your organs stop working the way they used to. And they call it getting old and getting sick. But what's happening is, as your cells are regrowing, they're regrowing the wrong way. And so, what if you could stop the cells from growing the wrong way and get them growing the right way? Well, guess what? It takes 3 months to grow a new organ. So you're not going to be healed after one class, after one day, after 1 week, after 1 month. We train to go to the doctor and get a surgery and be fixed right after, or really be jacked up after for a long time. We train to go to the doctor and get a pill and be good right after. See what I'm saying? Now, somebody got a problem, you done had it for 10 years, 15 years, and they tell you you're going to have it your whole life. And I'm telling you, you might be able to be healed in 3 to 4 months. It'd be hard for you to believe, because you believe there's no cure for your problem, because that's what you've been told to do. But if you understand that whatever your problem with, you can look up for yourself how long those cells live. And then you research the cells to see what they need and why they not regrowing like they used to. And you find that your cells needed something, a color of the rainbow, fruit, veggie, nut, and seed. And since you didn't have that in your body, and then your cells needed the energy, and you didn't have the energy in your body, you didn't have the energy in your body, you didn't have the molecules in your body, and so your cells have grown the wrong way. All we gonna do is stop them from growing the right way, but you ain't gonna be healed right away. You ain't gonna be healed for months. But what if you could be healed 3 or 4 months from now? Some people, they say it's a miracle. See? And so that's the thing. Now, the reality is, if you was healed in 3 or 4 months from now, that wouldn't be a miracle for the Tao. That would be normal, because all you did was what I just explained. But there are some things that can allow what they call rapid cellular regeneration. You can get the cells to grow quickly and get the dead cells to plop off. And that's why Master Chia says that the greatest gift the Tao gave to the world for healing was the bamboo hitter. And I don't have my bamboo hitter within reach, but it's just like some bamboo sticks, like some long chopsticks tied together in a handle, and you hit yourself with them bamboo sticks, okay? And what it does is the bamboo sticks, as you hit the organ in your body, and there's a special process you have to do to squeeze and condense the organ. And then once you learn how to squeeze and condense your organ, you hit it with the bamboo hitter. And what it's going to do is it's going to knock all the dead tissues out of your organs. The organ that you're trying to heal is going to knock the dead tissues out so the new tissues can grow. And when you learn how to increase the quality and quantity of your energy, learn how to increase the quality and quantity of your blood and the molecules in your blood, learn how to believe, and then learn how to use the bamboo hitter, you can be healed. Okay. And so that's what the Universal Healing Tao is all about. Okay. But it's really a lifestyle, because anything you're gonna have to do for 3 to 4 months it's a lifestyle. Okay. You're gonna have to eat these fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds, all colors of the rainbow, at least 3-4 months. And so that all the cells in your organ have a chance to regrow with these proper vitamins and minerals and nutrients. Okay. And you got to be developing your energy body. Okay. You got to be developing the amount of energy that's in your nervous system. You got to be developing the quality of the energy that's in your nervous system. And it's something you might learn in a class, but you got to do it on your own every day. And that's the thing about the Tao. The Tao is very personal. Your teacher, your master can't do anything for you except teach you. And so, you have to do the work in the Tao. No one can do it for you. Okay. Nobody can eat the fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds for you. Only you can do it. Nobody can connect your nervous system to get charged up by the sources except you. Okay. Nobody can purify the energy in your nervous system but you. Now, that's not exactly true. There are you, because you can heal people. Okay. You can heal people, but I teach people how to heal themselves. That's the only way we can have a healer in every home. Okay. Now, let's look at this. The paradigm is the lens that you see things through. So you gotta, it's the framework within which you interpret your information. So no matter what you see, you're gonna look at it through a certain paradigm, a certain framework. Right now, we program with a Western Eurocentric paradigm that says there is no cure for my disease and I have to take this medicine for the rest of my life. That's a certain paradigm. Another paradigm is whatever the East might have to say about that situation. The East might say, we got a 95% cure. All you got to do is adopt this lifestyle, put your cells in the right position, and then your body go, now here's the thing. If you were born healthy and then you develop the disease later, that means that when you were born, everything was working the right way. And so if you got a disease or something, that means that something went wrong in the system. So in that case, we can reboot the system and then the body can go back to being normal. But if you were born with the disease already, that means that the system was never working the right way. And so then you can't just reboot it back to normal. But if you were born healthy and then later on in your life, you develop something, that means that as your cells were replicating, they kept replicating worse and worse and worse and worse until the problem manifested. And if you get yourself in a state of where those cells were growing back when you were healthy, then you put yourself in that state, those old cells eventually will die, and the new cells that replace them will be like the cells that you used to have 20 years ago. And this is the secret of the fountain of youth. They would see somebody that's an older person go into the Taoist temple. See, normally you go and move into the Taoist temple. When I left America, I went to go live with Master Chia. First, I lived with him for 3 weeks in America, and then I went to Thailand and lived with him for 5 weeks, including 3 weeks in the total darkness like a cave. Okay. And so this is not designed the way Western learning and practice go, where you just learn something and then you just got something that you learn, you get some new. No, you're supposed to go somewhere for a certain amount of time and live there.
I closed my clinic.
And while you live there, every 2 hours, you're doing something for your healing, because every 2 hours is dedicated to a different organ. And so every 2 hours, there's something to do to develop and cultivate yourself while you're in this healing space. And what happened is you go into the temple and you stay a few months, of even a year or two. When you leave the temple, you will literally, you'll look like your pictures 20 years ago. So when people will go to the Taoist temples they got some disease and they need to heal, but the disease about to kill them, they about to die. So they really need to find something to heal them. So they get real serious at the temple. And then first they heal themselves, but after they get healed, they don't want to stop. They get healed and they don't leave the temple. They get healed and they stay in the temple, and they don't leave for months, years. And then when they come out, they look like they did back when they were younger. And so that's how the legends of the real fountain of youth came about. Okay. And it seemed to be miraculous, but we can use today's science to understand what was happening. All they was doing was going into the temple, and their cells were getting the type of energy that they hadn't had since they were younger, because as you age, your energy goes low. So you go into a place and they transforming your energy all day, every day. Your cells, they got to regrow. They got to die and regrow. And all your cells that's regrowing are regrowing in this energy, in this space. And your body is literally recreating itself. Okay. And so this is how these things happen. So you always want to look at whatever it is in your body as cellular regeneration or cellular degeneration. Okay. What are the cells in your body that's giving you the issue? Are those cells regenerating, or are those cells degenerating? Instead of, is there a cure for this? There's no cure for that. Because remember, the no cure is the no God. You understand the spirit. The spirit is that intelligence within your cell. That intelligence that tell everything what to become, that's the spirit. And when you understand, you can tap into the spirit, and you started off as just one little cell and became everything. So if you got one little cell that became everything, then anything can become anything again. And if anything can become anything again, your cells can regenerate. And you can believe that, so you can activate that placebo. We have to increase your nerve force quality and quantity, and we have to increase your blood quality and quantity. You have to learn how to get more energy in your nervous system. Okay. How do you do that? There's 3 major sources of energy that you can plug into, like a phone, and then recharge your battery. Okay. Instead of only having the energy you have in your nervous system, you can pull energy from at least 3 main sources into your battery. Okay. You got what we call the heavenly chi. And the heavenly chi is the energy, the vibration, the energy of everything in the heavens. Anything that spins makes a sound. If I take something and swing it around, it'll start making a sound. Woo, 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 woo. So everything that spins is making a sound, is making an energy. And every star and every planet, everything is spinning. Okay. So all of the planets spinning, they're making a big giant cosmic sound. It's creating all this energy, all this light from all of the stars, the sun and the moon, and all of this energy. You can actually plug into that. And you can bring the heavenly chi into your Dantian to charge your battery. Okay. Then you got the earth. The earth have a lot going on. The earth is very powerful. The earth got so many layers to it. The earth got so many layers above it. The earth is creating so much energy. It's volcanoes under our feet. No matter where you at, you go deep enough, it's going to be a volcano. It's going to be lava. There's going to be all type of stuff on this planet. And all that energy that the planet make, all the electromagnetic, all that space, everything the planet do, that's called the earth chi. And you can plug into that earth chi and you can use the earth to charge your battery, just like you can use the heavens to charge your battery. And then where heaven and earth combine, all the trees, all of the rivers, all of the animals, all of the plants, all of the everything, we call that nature chi. Okay. And you can plug in to that nature chi and charge your battery. Okay. So there's special methods and ways, different methods, different ways, different practices in order to plug into each of these different type of chis. First, your body has to be prepared to be able to handle that type of chi. So there's all type of stuff you have to learn to prepare your body to be able to plug in. Okay. And then once you do all that and then you plug in, you can charge your body. And that's how you can increase the quality of your nerve force. And then you got special places in your body that can transform the chi, collect, store, and transform the chi. Okay. So you take the heaven, earth, and nature, and then you combine that chi, and then you have a more higher quality of chi from all three combined. And then you take that high quality chi, and now already the quality of your nervous system has increased, because right now you don't have nothing but your own energy and the energy from what you eat. But then you learn how to pull the energy from the heavens, pull the energy from the earth, pull the energy from nature, combine them together, you get this new energy. And now your nervous system is operating at a level you wouldn't believe. So it can tell your body what to heal and how to fix itself a lot faster than your normal healing cycle. Okay. Something that might normally take a week to normally develop might be able to develop in a few seconds if you're in a supercharged enough environment. Okay. And so this is how you increase the quality and the quantity of your nerve force. Now, these pictures here is your nerve cells and your brain cells. If you look at your nervous system, it looks like your blood system. It looks like all these tubes and vessels going through your body. But the reality is your nerve cells don't touch. The nerve cells are not connected. They don't touch. there's a gap, there's a little space in between each individual nerve cell. These are what your nerve cells look like. And there's a little gap in between each nerve cell. This nerve cell is called, this gap is called the synapses between every gap. So as your body sends the nerve signals all throughout your body, and you know how fast the nerve, you touch something, it's hot, the signal got to go up to your brain and say hot, and it hurt. Your brain got to go back down to the finger, and then your finger get to come off. Okay, you take that process. So that signal that go up and come back down, it go across as energy through the cell, and when it gets to the end, the energy changes into matter, and it turns into these little pieces of matter, these materials called neurotransmitters. Okay, and these little neurotransmitters are going to send that electric signal, is going to transform it into matter, send it across the synapse, and when the next nerve cell, this is every individual nerve cell, the next nerve cell absorbs the matter, absorbs the chemicals, and then transforms the matter back into energy to send it through the nerve cell as energy. So you got this constant conversion from energy to matter, okay, going on in your body. You got these signals through your nervous system trying to get to every part of your body to tell it what to do. And so you have to have the materials so your body can make the neurotransmitters, because your body won't make the materials itself. You have to eat the materials. And if you don't eat the materials, your body won't have the materials to send your neurotransmitters across the synapse. So your nervous system not going to work. If you're not eating what you need for the neurotransmitters. And what are that? Minerals. These neurotransmitters are minerals. So you got to eat your minerals. Like they say, eat your vitamins and minerals, but you especially got to eat your minerals. And you ain't supposed to take a mineral pill. You're supposed to eat your minerals. And where you get your minerals from? Nuts and seeds. Your minerals come from your nuts and seeds. That's why you're supposed to eat fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds. Because if you're not eating the nuts and the seeds, then you're not going to have the minerals you need. And if you don't have the minerals you need, your neurotransmitters is not going to be in good shape. And without your neurotransmitters in good shape, you're not going to be able to send energy through your nervous system. Your body ain't going to be able to heal itself. So this is why this is connected to diet. Now you understand the importance of diet. Although in the Tao, we do our healing without diet. It don't matter what you eat. Once you learn how to alter that energy, miraculous things can happen. But in the Tao, why not use food if food can help you? If food can be a medicine. Okay. Sometimes the problem with your body is that you ain't ate no nuts and seeds for the last 30 years, 20 years. You ain't no nuts and seeds. You ain't put no minerals into your body, and your nervous system can't even make the neurotransmitters. And no matter what diagnosis you get, you can get every diagnosis, take every pill, every medicine, you just do it for the rest of your life, stay worse. And here it is, all you need to do is start eating some pumpkin seeds. All you have to do is start eating some pumpkin seeds, some walnuts, some pumpkin seeds, some almonds. And then all of a sudden, because you're eating some raw pumpkin seeds, because you're eating some almonds, just a little bit, so you can get those minerals, grind it up and make it a powder if you don't chew good enough, so you can get those minerals, So anyways, that's why when we talk about fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds, it's for a reason. This is so you can get your 6 essential nutrients. This is the Taoist diet. Fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds, all the colors of the rainbow. This is how you can make your miracles start to happen. Even if you don't learn the Taoist secrets. All we're talking about is eating fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds, but I'm going to let you understand the wisdom behind the simplicity. You see? Lisa, you want to say anything? I might save this the rest of this for another one.
Yeah, let's save the rest for next week. That's like I said to our viewers, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. There's so much matter to cover here. I do just want to quickly touch upon grains, but before I do, I want to highlight a couple of things that Brother Long said. Can I remove your presentation, Brother Long, so I can add
Yes.
something else up to the stage? All right. So this is a video that I came across recently. It's by Zach Bush, MD. I support him online. I'm a fan of his from what I've seen. And he said something very interesting about sort of the current state of affairs. So I'll just play that for you all now.
Let go of my prescription capacity as a doctor. I can no longer prescribe drugs because I am convinced the only thing I can really do with a drug now is harm. There is no way that a human, myself or otherwise, is going to find a new chemical that is going to change the potential or capacity of that temple to do itself better. I just wholly now understand that to be absolutely an impossible premise because the design was so perfect at its origin. And any disease is a decrement away from that original design, not a failure of the design that now needs to be improved. We are that original design of this most complex expression of light interacting with water, interacting with protein, or the expression of building blocks of life itself. And for that, we built these temples that we call bodies, you know.
And then I want to remove that and add something else, just kind of highlighting again the things that Brother Long touched upon. I sort of have a couple of things that help to bring home his message, I think. And so I want to support that because I absolutely believe in the message that we are trying to share with you all. So here's another one.
Why aren't doctors taught about it?
Everybody knows that doctors don't get any really meaningful education about nutrition.
Nutrition is really something that maybe you get 1 hour, maybe you get 2 hours.
Nutrition in the 1970s in my medical school was very, very limited.
I really still feel that it's nearly criminal.
There really haven't been many opportunities to discuss nutrition in depth because the topic only comes up in passing.
Maybe they assumed that we knew.
The average physician in this country has less than 20 minutes of nutrition training, period.
Nobody teaches you anything about nutrition in medical school.
What I was taught was nobody changes their diet anyway, so just, do what you can.
I hate to say it, but your physician probably knows less about nutrition than you do.
We're taught to treat diseases after they occur. We're not taught how to prevent them in the first place.
Food for thought.
And then lastly, Brother Long spoke there for a moment about the electric power that runs through the earth and how healing it is. I personally, actually have my feet on a grounding mat currently, and this morning I was out grounding for nearly an hour. So I practice a lot of grounding, whether it be out in nature when the weather is not conducive. I have grounding products, including my flip-flops are grounded. I have a large bed mattress cover that's grounding. I have grounding patches that I use to apply to areas in the body that are in need of grounding. So although he didn't refer to it as grounding and earthing, this is what Brother Long was speaking about, the ability to neutralize the body by bringing in negative electrons to rid the body of things like dirty electricity, radiation and pollution, EMF, exposure, etc., allowing that matter to leave the body whilst bringing in negative electrons to neutralize the body and to help restore and to heal. So this is really critical. I can tell you, as somebody who's very much in her healing process right now, in my healing journey, so to speak, that I see a definite difference on the days that I've grounded versus the days that I don't ground. So 20 minutes a day is really all you need, getting your feet onto the grass, The more of your body that you can expose to the earth, the better. Sand is fine as well. But it's important that you find grass that has not been sprayed. So look for things like weeds. Look for grass that has not been, well groomed and is not perfectly green and without dandelions and yada yada yada. Because if you're spraying if chemicals have been sprayed, then you're going to just make yourself more sick at the end of the day, and that's tough, unfortunately, where we are, because there are chemtrails in addition to pesticides, rodenticides, fungicides, herbicides, ovicides. So you have to really be alert, and you have to have attention and intention when it comes to sourcing a patch of land, a patch of grass, a patch of sand that is clean, and that will help you in your healing journey. And then I'll just quickly talk about grains. I'm going to make this very, very short because, again, I do want to keep this digestible and accessible to you lot. And know that we probably won't have questions today because we've been on live now for about an hour, but that we're happy to, again, receive those questions through the inbox, through the comment section, or if you DM me, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. So I'll just quickly read to you in order to keep it concise from Paul Chek's phenomenal book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, which this year marks the 20-year anniversary of this book, and there's a new edition that came out recently to honor that. Those of you that know or don't know, I am at the Academy at the Chek Institute, and Paul Chek is one of my mentors. So grains, the story of grains goes part and parcel with the story of bread, neither of which the human machinery is designed to function optimally on. Whilst I'm sure this is a surprise to some of you, significant amounts of scientific evidence suggest that for most of human evolution, until about 10,000 years ago, the primary staple in diets of most civilizations was animal meat. Generally, consumption of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds was seasonal and supplementary. Most of the animals we preferred to eat, such as deer, were herbivores. These animals served to condense nutrition in their meats. 1 pound of meat containing the nutritional equivalent of several pounds of vegetables. Such a dense nutrient source provided a sustaining food source during the winter months, where there was minimal food storage methods other than the cold itself. Although many argue, most from an emotional bias, that we must have carbohydrates to source carbohydrate sources to function, biochemistry reveals that we have the capacity to convert some fat molecules, glycerol, into carbohydrates. Whilst there are many controversial theories as to why we began farming, most agree that farming practices or nurturing the growth of specific plant species and domesticating animals began no more than 20,000 years ago, and more likely as recently as 10,000 years ago. And since there's been progressive increase in the amount of grains consumed, especially highly refined grains, yet this time period is but a flash in the scope of human evolution during which our digestive machinery was formed. The process of sprouting grains changes the composition of the grain in numerous ways to make it more beneficial as a food. Sprouting increases the content of vitamins such as vitamins C, B2, B5, and B6. Carotene increases dramatically, sometimes 8-fold. Even more important, especially considering how many suffer from indigestion, is that phytic acid, which is a mineral blocker, is broken down in the sprouting process. Present in the bran of all grains and the coating of nuts and seeds, phytic acid inhibits the absorption of calcium, magnesium, iron, copper, and zinc. These inhibitors can neutralize our own digestive enzymes, resulting in digestive disorders. Complex sugars responsible for intestinal gas are also broken down during sprouting, and a portion of the starch in grain is transformed into sugar. In addition, sprouting inactivates aflatoxins, which are toxins produced by fungus and are potent carcinogens found in grains. For individuals who can't tolerate gluten, by the way, I recommend everyone take 6 months off of gluten and just try reintroducing it after 6 months, and then you'll know definitively if your body enjoys gluten or not. Those who can tolerate it, whole grain cereals and breads are nutritious and provide fiber, which aids in detoxification. But processed wheat and white flour, which is just bleached wheat flour, is nutritionally deficient. Levels of zinc, chromium, manganese, iron, and vitamin E are also reduced in the processed flour compared to whole grains. Since the 1950s, conventionally farmed American grains have been low in protein quality and quantity. The US tried giving its surplus grains to countries with starving populations, but they would not accept those grains from the US. This was because the deficient US grains did little to maintain or improve the health of the starving. After 130 years of consuming highly processed grains in the form of breads, pastries, and cereals, chronic disease is rampant amongst most industrial countries. The greatest prevalence of rheumatic disease is in England, which has the greatest consumption of white flour, white sugar, and tea per capita, whilst the US runs a close second. So I was speaking to you about grounding. This is called the Earthing Moving, which is great. I highly recommend it. And if you go to the earthingstore.com or earthing.com, you're able to purchase some of those products that I mentioned to you, such as patches, such as flip-flops, such as a yoga mat, which I also have, such as pads that you can put, mats that you can put underneath your feet or underneath your sits bones as you're sitting whilst in front of your devices. These are all ways to neutralize the radiation and dirty electricity. On that note, I do want to share just one more little short reel with you lot, and then we really will wrap this up, because I want you all to get out and do some grounding if it's still daytime where you are and you can get out into the sun. We must enjoy this beautiful weather that is available to us, especially those of us that don't live in tropical countries like Brother Long does. Here we are. All right, so this will be the last.
MTHFR gene mutation. It is a full contact sport to get them in the car to go to school in the morning. If you're feeding them anything with folic acid, which by the way is an entirely man-made chemical, you can't find folic acid anywhere on the surface of the earth, even though in the United States we spray our entire grain supply, all pasta, all white flour, all white rice, all cereals of any kind, grains of any kind, we spray it with folic acid, a man-made chemical. And we call it fortified or enriched. When you feed 44% of the children fortified or enriched foods, they go nuts. So if you give them Pop-Tarts, white bagels, cereals, things like this in the mornings. But this is, the standard American diet. It's high in the food pyramid.
I know.
And you feed these kids this stuff before school. First of all, it's a full contact sport to get them in the car to go to school in the morning. And then as soon as they get to school, the call comes home from the teacher and they're like, little Johnny's not paying attention. He's disruptive. He doesn't follow directions. It just makes their mind race. And then modern medicine says, well, if the mind is racing, then let's pump an amphetamine into the body to race the central nervous system to match the pace of the mind, which is a terrible idea because eventually this causes something called tachyphylaxis, which is the medical term for desensitization. It burns these receptors out. It can actually permanently change the neuroplasticity of the brain. You get a genetic test that you do once in your lifetime, and you should do it on your kids as soon as they can chew and swallow, because so goes puberty, so goes the adult. So if we can get kids in their prepubescent years, there's a much more significant chance that they don't have any of these ailments when they get older.
So I'm not here to sell whatever it is that they're selling there at the end, but I have been quite vocal when I have said to my clients, as well as on these platforms, that in general, I do believe as a health coach, everyone should take a 6-month break from all grains, even if you believe that you're fine on grains, and then just reintroduce one at a time, including oats one at a time, wheat one at a time, corn one at a time. And to me, only then will you know definitively if you have an issue or not, because you might think that you're doing fine on grains, but over time, what happens is your body just starts to mute its symptoms, right? So kind of like you get tired of repeating yourself to your friends or your spouse, etc., right? You'll simply cease saying the same thing over and over again if you're not seeing a change in behavior. So your body kind of acts the same way. It may be struggling with grains, but it's sort of muted if it's constantly being bombarded with grains. And then what you'll find later down the line, because it's so forgiving and because it's constantly overcompensating, is that you'll be then met with something really serious, like an autoimmune disease, God forbid. So that's why I think everyone can benefit. There is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't get off the grains and eat just clean, organic produce, fruits, and or meat for a 6-month period, and just see what it does. It literally can't hurt, and it might help. You'd be surprised. So that's one of the things that I work with my clients when I'm working one-on-one, especially those that are needing to reverse disease in the body. So it's not easy, I'll admit it, but it is definitely worth it. If you have a big enough dream and that dream is to restore your health, then you won't create a crisis. I think that's everything for today. I'd like to thank those of you that joined in. We know it's the summer months. Some of you are still traveling. So those of you that catch the replay, we thank you for coming back at a time that's convenient for you to watch this. Please remember to like, share, tell your friends and mates and loved ones. And we are here weekly, Brother Long and I, him all the way from the continent of Africa and me from the United States of America. Although how united the United States is debatable, but we won't get into that. And we will just look forward to speaking you again soon. So from my heart to yours, get free and stay free. And that's real talk, fam. Get free and stay free if you're paying attention to what's happening. Brother Long, any final words?
Study the Tao and study the universal healing Tao of Mantak Chia, and you will find many things.
Wonderful. Thank you again for your time and your generosity, Brother Long. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Everyone, be safe. Speak to you soon. Bye now.